We're not giving those to you. We'll email you that, but that's for the new members. Well, not all the new members are gonna be here, so take a few minutes. Yeah.
I got it. I told you, yeah, I just read the resolution.
Right.
They want their money to use in public funding
Right.
to fund. It's a hot topic right now. Every school board is, every district sees these passing that same resolution.
But
Are they really?
But that's beyond us.
I was super behind that. I know, super but you know.
Well, we may have some
In case it
people
comes
show
up, in case it pops up here, you never know.
I'm sure it will, because
You know,
education is on the,
it's on the
Well,
agenda.
that's what
she gave me a
So
presentation.
somebody might bring it up and say, you know, and we have no horse in that race whatsoever, but they're afraid that because the federal level, they may do choice that it would divert that. A lot of people are grumbling, saying that, you know, we should do it all equally and give them the same fund. It's just crazy,
I can start the webinar.
yeah, go for it.
you know, so.
I know, I'm very,
Right? I'm gonna send it to you. No, the biggest network. Oh. She used to be. Mhm. You see what she said, that the feds, that's how come people are, but she's gaining a lot of support. Yeah, she's coming here. Mm-mm.
Everyone, good evening. We're going to get started in just a minute or two, just waiting for our Vice Chair, Pat Ruiz, and who's also the Membership and Attendance Committee Chair. So,
Welcome.
hey, John.
Good, huh?
That's on the state.
I think you're gonna find that in most districts,
Yeah,
those,
yeah.
traffic parking.
State control or the tool,
Mm.
and you could do it by exact zip code. Once you've been in
Single fund insurance.
maybe you could share it.
Oh, this week's meeting is going to be the last time for the city council members until after the primary.
Yeah.
We'll figure those out.
Mhm.
No problem. Blame it on the MTA.
Actually, yes, I missed the train.
Of course.
Trying to wait for the other one.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our joint executive committee and membership and attendance committee. This will hopefully be a short-ish meeting, but we just wanted to do some quick introductions, talk a little bit about board procedures, and answer any questions. Before we move along, I'll ask Jeremy to call the roll for the committees.
Thank you. We will start with the executive committee. If you are joining us on Zoom and I call your name, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. If you don't hear your name, but you're joining us, that means you are not on either of these committees. Julio Peña III, chairperson.
Present.
I'm going to give titles for this. Pat Ruiz, first vice chair. Thank you. Cynthia Jeffers, second vice chair.
Here.
Don DeLuper, secretary. Thank you. Karen Rolnick, assistant secretary. Jerry Chen, community engagement specialist. Rosie Moda, treasurer.
Rosie Mata here.
Thank you. Rosa, you do not count towards quorum. Sam Sierra, Sergeant at Arms. And I will just say that the Assistant Sergeant at Arms position right now is vacant. Uh, uh, 4 of 8 are here. The committee does not have a quorum. We will move to membership and attendance. Pat Ruiz, Committee Chair.
Present.
Thank you. The Vice Chair is vacant. Joan Body. Cynthia Jeffers. Thank you. Membership and attendance does have a quorum.
We're the mighty two.
Exactly. Thank you, Jeremy. Welcome again, everyone. My name is Julio Peña III. I am the chair of Community Board 7. We'll do some quick introductions of the board staff, who are probably the more important people to get to know. And then we'll talk a little bit about the member handbook that you received, committee assignments, and just how we operate here at the board. So I will start with Jeremy.
Thank you and welcome, everybody. It's good to see some new faces. I'm Jeremy Laufer. I'm the district manager for the community board. I am not a board member. A lot of people think I am. I've been with the board, working for the board for 25 years, and I am the board's newest employee. I will ask our other staff members to introduce themselves. We are here day to day. If you have questions or concerns, you typically email us or call us. And very often we have to contact Julio or some of our other members, particularly our committee chairs, if you have questions or you are seeking to be a panelist on Zoom. I want to call your attention that although we do have hybrid meetings, you may have heard that the person who is here on the committee, when she responded that she's here, even though she's on Zoom, that while her attendance counts, she does not count towards quorum. So if you're not in the room, if the majority of a committee or the board is not physically in the room, we do not have quorum and we cannot conduct official business. So please keep in touch with us about your schedule. We will try to be as accommodating as possible. I know we have one new member who is out of town but is joining us on Zoom tonight, so I want to thank her for doing that. And again, if you have any questions or want to know how to do something, questions on what your interests are and what committees might be most appropriate for you, feel free to reach out to us. And I will ask our staff, starting with our assistant district manager, you have a microphone, to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, welcome everyone, all new board members. My name is Maria Gonzalez. I'm the Assistant District Manager here. I have been working on the board for 33 years. So I am the oldest person here working, or the longest. You may be. Longest worker here. Very important. If you have any questions or concerns, no matter how little it is, please call the staff. Call us or email us. We will get back to you as soon as we can. Better to call us than to be wondering what you should and should not be doing. We are seasoned, experienced staff here, so we will get you your answers for any of your concerns right away. When you get calls regarding your attendance or letters, that would be me. The voice you hear at the other end of the phone is me. Any concerns, any attendance, please call us. They will be going, Pat Ruiz, the committee chair, will go more into details about this, but it is very, very important that you contact us and let us know whether you're going to be here or not. We're here 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. After 5 o'clock, we're gone. So, unless there's a meeting, of course. But at 5 o'clock, we're gone. We're here usually before 9 o'clock. At least one of us is here at least before 9 o'clock. But 9 o'clock, 9 to 5 is our hours here. And once again, we're staff, we're not board members.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Natasha Cordero. I'm the community associate here. I'm the one who bombards you with numerous emails about upcoming meetings, events that we're having in the district. You should have started to receive our weekly newsletter for the new board members. You start to receive this Thursday. It's packed with a lot of information that Jeremy puts together about construction projects, upcoming events in the community, health fairs, utility work, or things that that people in the community should know. So that comes out every Thursday. Um, if your information changes for any reason, your email address, your phone number, please call the office or email us that information because that's the way we communicate with you is mostly through email. So if it bounces back, that's my concern because I'm responsible for getting out the word about public hearings, board meetings, committee meetings. And if I'm not able to reach you, then none of us are able to communicate with you. We don't know what's going on. I would suggest to add bking07 at cb.nyc.gov to your address book so it recognize our email address. A lot of times our email tends to go into spam and junk folders. Also, the same thing for when you do request a virtual link to attend a meeting that you cannot attend in person. Um, Also, just make it a habit. Also, check your spam and junk boxes because we've heard reports back from previous board members that the stuff went there and they didn't know to look there. So always inbox, spam, junk boxes for any emails from us or from Zoom. Um, I've been here 30 plus years. Funny story. I was hired temporarily to cover for Maria when she got out maternity leave, and many years later, I am still here, happily to be here. Um, I'm the one responsible for posting content on our social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We post about our meetings, events that we may be co-sponsoring with another organization or elected official. That information will be there, but we'll also send you guys information as well. So like Maria said and Jeremy said, if you have any questions, you're unsure about anything, call us. We're all very seasoned. We have between us, we have like what over like 60 years of experience, probably more, uh, over 75, dealing with the ins and outs of city agencies, the borough president's office. So yeah, just call us and or email us, and we'll be happy to answer your question. If we don't know the answer, we'll get an answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, if you could just pass it to Michael. Look at that, I don't remember the name. We'll just do a quick introduction, name, neighborhood, and a fun fact.
Sure. My name is, sure, sorry. My name is Michael Pepin, and I am a born and bred New Yorker. I grew up in Brooklyn. I actually grew up in Bay Ridge, and now I live in Windsor Terrace. I'm an attorney. I have my own practice. Fun fact about me is I spent most of my early life growing up in the restaurant industry. So I love food, Italian food, usually.
Why did you join the board?
Sorry?
Why did you join the board?
Well, I live in Windsor Terrace now. My family has owned a building there for many years, and I moved in with my wife, and we're expecting our first child. And thank you. So I just want to get more involved in my community. I really love it in this area. I think there's so much going on, and I really want to do my best to help and improve, life for everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Cruz. I live down the street, like 10 blocks on 4th Avenue, so I can see the building and wave, which is nice. I grew up in California, but I have lived in New York since 1995, so I feel like at this point I count. I don't know. I joined because I wanted to join because I believe really strongly that local government and control is the most important thing always, but especially now. And so I'm a mom and an educator and all kinds of different things. And it just felt really important to be here. And what's a fun fact? I really like to bake. So let me know if you need any baked goods because sometimes I make too much. So if you're
Have long board meetings. Snacks would be nice.
Not too long.
good to know. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Matt Lukevich. Live in Windsor Terrace. I also was born in Queens. I grew up there. I'm a software engineer. Fun fact about myself, I speak Polish. So, both my parents came here in like 1983. So, we kind of learned English alongside each other. But yeah, and why I joined the board, I'm still pretty young. So I've been spending, up until the last couple of years kind of moving around, and I feel like settling down in Windsor Terrace for the last couple of years, I feel like I really found a neighborhood I really enjoy. I really want to, you know, uh, settle down here. I know they use that phrase already, but I want to stay is all. And I want to give back. I want to, help the neighborhood be the best version of itself. I don't know. Thanks.
I'm
Try again, yeah.
Green light on?
While they're fixing that, just make sure you speak into the mic so they can hear you.
yeah. Is it working now? Okay, perfect. I'll start over. Hey everyone, I'm Justin Campos.
Oh my
I think we're
goodness.
having bandwidth problems, actually.
Sorry. Okay, I'll bring this too. Yeah, I think the light is on, but I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, so I live in South Slope. Mostly a newcomer to the neighborhood. I've been here for about 2 years, almost 3. And so I wanted to join the board to become more involved in this neighborhood that I've started to call home. And a fun fact about me is that I'm from Connecticut.
Hello. Maybe if you closer, yeah,
Maybe that got to be closer. I don't know.
put one leg up. Come up here. Let's try it from here.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So I'm Tylisha Gonzalez. I am a data scientist and a professor with CUNY Lehman College. I was actually born in Lutheran Hospital, and I lived here.
Hello.
There we go. Yeah, all right, awesome. I lived here until I was about 21 years old, and my family made the unfortunate decision to move to Staten Island. I bounced around a little bit through some of that time, and I came back about 8 years ago. I have an 11-year-old son, and we walk the neighborhood a lot. He really enjoys stories that from when I was a little kid. You cannot pivot. You just have to say, all right. Yeah, there you go. I know, right? I got to hold it in front of him. So his favorite part of walking the neighborhood is stories that I tell from when I was a kid. But he also is kind of embracing like his community organizing activist spirit, and he's identified issues that he's wanted to work on. And so in asking me, how do I fix these problems, Mom? I said, very good question. And so that's why I decided to join. Thank you so much for me, and I will just stand really straight.
Hi everyone. I'm Michael Tom. I was in Canada, and then I came to the U.S. For school like 9 years ago, and actually just moved to Sunset Park in New York City last June. So I'm a relative newcomer, but I really enjoy the neighborhood and the sense of community and the diversity. And so I think, hopefully planning to stay for a while, and so wanting to get and give back. I am a public psychiatrist, so a psychiatrist who works with people who are under-resourced and have serious mental illness. So hoping to, contribute that background to raising awareness of mental health resources and things like that. A fun fact is, if any of you have watched Netflix, To All the Boys I Ever Loved, or Exo Kitty, my cousin is Kitty, the younger sister in that.
Aw, that's a nice fun fact.
Roll the paparazzi.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chavez. This will be my 3rd year on the board. I am on 16th and 5th in South Slope. I'm on the Parks Committee, Economic Development, and Housing and Health. I work for a nonprofit parks in Brooklyn. And a fun fact about me is I was born in El Paso, Texas.
Thanks. My name is Danny DeBear. I live in South Slope. For day job, I work in environmental state politics and grew up in California, lived in South Slope now for a few years. My fun fact is that I lost my high school's bird calling contest 3 years in a row. So don't ask me to bird call. And Chloe Feynman from SNL won the bird calling contest in high school. So she's the successful example. And you know what?
And bird
Success
call.
in bird calls, exactly.
Good evening. Okay, stay in the middle, right? Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Xiomara Garcia. I'm actually a Sunset Parker, born and raised. I'm proud of it, of Sunset Park. I have actually worked also near the area where I live. Been in banking, retail banking for 20 years plus. I just recently joined also near the area, a nonprofit weatherization organization that has been in Sunset Park for over 30 years. As an assistant executive director, I started in July. And as part of being a Sunset Parker, I am interested in being here because I care about Sunset Park. I care about the families, I care about the community. Part of my job being and working near the area is giving back to the community, providing financial literacy sessions to the schools, to professionals. And I think that the skill set that I have and the experience that I have, I can also help the community and the board, further develop in any opportunities with the skill set that I have. And also, helping raise awareness. There's a lot of voices here in Sunset Park that are not being heard. Me being a Sunset Parker, and I think there's a lot of great things that are happening in the changes like Industry City that actually happened a few years ago, I would say. But there are also changes that I think in living in Sunset Park that we don't know exactly what's going on. And sometimes these things can affect our families and the community and not a so positive way. So I would say, just working with the opportunities that we have here and finding how we can benefit from it, being residents and also sharing our experiences that we have. So thank you.
Right. Into the right spot. Okay, my name is John DeLooper. I've been on the board since 2021. I'm currently the secretary, and I'm also the vice chair of the transportation committee. So for Tylisha, I too am at CUNY Lehman College for work, librarian there. Yeah, and I joined the community board because a number of years ago there was a issue in my neighborhood, and actually the community board, got involved and solved it. And from that time on, I saw that the way that they can make a difference, and I wanted to join ever since then. So that's why I put in for it. So, all right.
Microphone.
Cycle license, and I like motorcycles, so that's a.
My name is Cynthia. I'm a lifelong resident of Sunset Park. Fun fact, I still live in the house I was brought home from St. Elizabeth that became Lutheran, that is now NYU. So that's my fun fact. Been on the board since 2019, I believe. And I joined the board because I believe in making a difference in the community. You can't complain about things and then not stand up and take action for the things that you do not want to do. So I believe in being the change you want to see in the world. I am the second vice chair. I'm also the chair of public safety, and I'm on the membership committee as well.
Pat Ruiz. I am well, let's start with, I have been on this board for a little over 20 years. I started because I was representing Lutheran Medical Center at the time when I was working as their community relations person. I am still here, not working for them, but I am still here. My daughter was born and raised in Sunset Park. I lived in Sunset Park from 1980 up until I would say 13 years ago, where I now live in Bay Ridge. But I have a not-for-profit organization called the Boricua Festival Committee that's been around since 1998. We did all-day festivals in Prospect Park, and then we moved it to the 58th Street Pier. We have not had an event since 2020, unfortunately, but we do have our Dr. Antonia Pantoja program, which Cynthia is part of our group with that, and it's amazing what we've been doing. We were able to name a school after Dr. Antonia Pantoja. We named the corner of that school on 35th Street and Fifth Avenue, and we're hoping to name the entire school itself by Dr. Antonia Pantoja. I am the chair of the Membership and Attendance Committee. I serve on the Executive Committee. I am also on the Health and Mental Health Committee, Education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Welcome, everyone. I don't think Julio wants me to start on my role as membership and attendance, or do I go on, or do I let you introduce yourself?
Since we have people on.
I
Zoom.
will be back.
Again, my name is Julio Peña. I'm the chair of the board. I have been on the board since 2016, so just under 10 years. I born and raised Sunset Park, also born in Lutheran Medical Center. Grew up on 56th Street. I now live across the street from the park on 40th Street. My day job is I work with a nonprofit here and actually in Sunset Park, running after-school programs for high school youth. Been working in the education nonprofit field for 25-ish years. I don't look it, but I have. And fun fact is I have a twin sister who is 11 minutes older and will never let me forget it.
Julio, I just want to jump in. I'm looking at a picture right now. How did you get involved with the community board?
I was gonna get there. So I got involved with the board through the Sunset Park High School Task Force, which is a picture of the schools right there in the corner. The task force formed in 2006. I was fresh out of high school at the time. And the board created the task force to help get the school built. For years, Department of Education kept putting into the budget the capital plan for the school and then taking it out. And after a while, the community was like, enough. Formed the task force. That's where I met the board, some board members. And then a couple of years later, I applied, and here I am. So it was an amazing experience. Let's go to our two folks online. We'll start with Carrie.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, I'm just so happy I have internet because I'm actually in Montana in the middle of the woods, so it's somewhat of a miracle, but happy to be here. My name is Carrie. I was born and I grew up in New York City. I've lived here all of my life, except for about 6 years when I lived in different countries in Europe. I live near the 25th subway station. I've lived there for a few years, and for about a decade before that, right outside the boundaries of this district. So I've been around for a while. And I am a nonprofit worker. I'm a contemporary arts curator and writer and an academic. And a lot of my work deals with climate change and the arts. And I really appreciate the way that Cynthia put it. I have the same answer. I wanted to join the community board because I've been studying the issues, coming to many of the community board meetings, either in person and online. And, you know, much like Cynthia said, I'm not the person to complain and do nothing about it. So happy to be here. And fun fact, my very first job, actually, when I was 15, about 15 years old, was at my local New York City community board making photocopies. So it's nice to be back in a sense, and thank you so much.
We have some work for you, Kari.
I'm saying photocopying is a very important job. And Rosie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the community board. I'm completing my second term this year, and I'm currently the treasurer, and I'm vice chair of the Health and Education Committee. And a fun fact is I applied to be a part of the Community Engagement Council with DOE. Let's see how that goes. And I'm a director of health policy at the Latino Commission on AIDS. And so that's what I like to talk about is like harm reduction, HIV, or any, engaging with faith-based communities and engaging with community. That's what I like to do. So welcome. And I'm excited to meet y'all in person soon.
Thank you, Rosie. So I want to talk a little bit about how this board operates in our monthly meetings. We have a meeting every third Wednesday of the month. Our next meeting is this Thursday, with the exception of this Wednesday. I don't know why I said Thursday. That's weird. I know. Sorry. Sorry. Third Wednesday, this coming Wednesday is our next meeting, with the exception of July and August. We don't meet a lot of the work that we do here happens at committees. At least that is my goal. I try to facilitate productive, efficient meetings, but the purpose of our monthly meetings are to hear from, we have our elected officials report, we have our committee reports where if the committee met in the previous month, we'll talk about what they discussed. Sometimes the committee will issue a resolution or a proposal, in which case we will discuss the resolution or motion and vote on it. Oftentimes, I will try my best to ensure that discussion moves quickly, and that's not to rush a discussion, and that's not to keep people from speaking, but my goal really is like the meat and potatoes, or I should say the rice and beans of our board happens in committees, and so that there is a robust discussion, and that when the proposal or discussion comes to our full board, people, if you weren't able to attend the meeting, you can watch them virtually on our YouTube page, so that you can be well informed and make the best decision possible. Obviously, no one here is an expert in every specific field. I certainly am not. But really relying on the experts in that specific field to kind of help guide a discussion and really ensure that our meetings run smoothly. My goal is to finish all our meetings by 8 p.m. Usually we make that goal. Sometimes we don't. I will say May and June tend to be very, very busy months for us because everyone is trying to get in their meeting. All of the city agencies are trying to get a meeting in before our summer recess. So I will try my best to make sure that we end by 8 p.m. every single meeting. But again, that's also, we're not going to cut people off. We want people to have robust discussions, but we also we all have lives, right? And we want to make sure that we get home in time.
That's something
ahead.
about the meetings. A lot of time they're delayed because we don't have a quorum, right? So it's very important that we have a quorum at every single meeting because then we could conduct official business. So while Julio does an amazing job in keeping us on track, sometimes he does have to shuffle things around so we get a quorum. So while we understand that sometimes it's difficult to make it right on time, if you make it within that first 10 minutes, it's really good because then we could declare a quorum and follow the agenda as is. When we have to shift it around, that sometimes makes it a little bit more challenging to stick to that 8 p.m. that we like to honor.
Jeremy, you want to add something?
Sure. So I also do want to point out that even though we don't have meetings in July and August, the board office is still open every day. So if you do have questions or interests that you want to discuss or bring up, things that you want to add to the newsletter, feel free to reach out to us throughout the summer.
Thank you. So the handbook that we gave out, we started using a couple of years ago now at this point, I think right about the time and I think in 2021 when we revised our bylaws. It is, I think, a really amazing document. It is a very unique document. I don't think any other board has anything like it. So, but really is a useful guide in how we conduct our meetings, how committee meetings are structured, has a short guide on Robert's Rules of Order, which we follow, how to introduce a motion, how it is seconded, discussion, and talks about pretty much everything in our board, and I think it's really great. It's not terribly long. The bulk of the last couple of pages are our bylaws, which are just useful to have, and if you're a bylaw or rule nerd like me, you'll like them. If not, sorry. And also has a listing of all of our committees and committee membership. In terms of committees, we do ask members to join at least 2 committees. You're more than welcome to join more than that, but I just will caution your capacity. You know, like I mentioned, we all have lives and our personal lives, and I want to make sure that you can participate to your best ability. So if you'd like to join more committees, by all means, go for it. But I would just caution you to join more than 3, but you are absolutely welcome to. Usually I do committee assignments based on the request of the board member. If you request, you know, any specific committee, you will most likely get appointed to that committee. There are some exceptions just in terms of the size of committees. We try not to make them too large. As Cynthia mentioned, we do struggle sometimes with quorum. So we want to make sure that, you know, there aren't like 15 members on a committee, and, you know, establishing quorum may be a little bit challenging. But of course, if there's a committee that you're interested in, by all means, go for it. I know we talked about quorum, and I just want to make sure we do a little literacy moment because I recognize that some people may not know that term, but quorum just means the establishing a minimum number of appointed board members to conduct official business. So our board right now is at 46 members, so quorum at our board meetings are 24. And quorum at committee meetings are the majority of appointed board members, with the exception of ex officio and public members do not count towards quorum. So if the committee has 7 appointed members, then their quorum is 4. I talked. Yes, and then on occasion, we will have public hearings. Those are charter mandated. So for example, if there is a rezoning proposal that's before our board, we are required by the city charter to hold a public hearing. Those also require quorum, but it is 20% of our appointed members, which is usually like 8 to 10 members, depending on our current size. Those usually happen separate from our monthly meetings, usually at a location close to where the rezoning is happening, or at least we try our best to. And monthly meeting, I think that is it for forum and committee meetings. Pat, did you want to say a few words about membership and attendance?
First, especially since I was late, so I apologize. Membership and attendance. As you probably have read in your handbook, and I don't believe there was a borough president's meeting as yet, you are to be at every monthly board meeting. We understand that things come up. And the one thing that we ask is if you cannot make a monthly board meeting and even a committee meeting, please reach out to the board. You can copy me, or Maria, Jeremy, Natasha will forward those emails to me. The one thing we will ask is a reason. If you are not comfortable giving a reason to everyone on that chain, you can always feel free to write to me. I will know what it is and why. Because what happens is if you miss 2 consecutive meetings, you're going to get a friendly little phone call from Maria. That call will be documented, whether she spoke to you, didn't speak to you. then followed with an email saying, confirming our conversation, you said you'd be here, blah, 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 or we left you a voicemail message concerning your attendance, please reach out to us. You come to the next meeting. If you don't come to the next third meeting, then you are invited to meet with the Membership and Attendance Committee to discuss your absence. We do understand extenuating circumstances. That's why we are so lucky to have virtual. But again, you have to write in time. For a monthly board meeting, you have until Monday of the monthly board meeting to request to attend virtually. And again, give a reason. If you don't want to give a reason to everyone, again, reach out to me. We do our best to keep our records as far as why you didn't come, because what happens is if the board president reviews your tenure, your 2-year time, and sees that you, especially the first year, that you miss more than 50% of your attendance, you're done. I'm just going to say it as unprofessionally as I can. You're done. They look at that. Things have changed drastically. I have been on this board for a very long time. And when I started, we did not have this, you only have 2 years and then, maybe you'll come back, maybe you won't. It's a whole different story, which I understand. I am so happy to see the array of professions in this room. It's unbelievable. And I know Julio's head is spinning already on what we think you might be able to help us if you can. So be prepared because you will get those requests. If you're not sure what committees, he'll help you. But anyway, back to attendance. Quorum. Again, if you are on virtual, you do not count for quorum, but as crazy as it sounds, you can vote. So yeah, it's crazy, but that's the way it is. If you're going to be late, text someone. You can text Julio, Jeremy, myself, Cynthia. Let us know you're going to be late. We do have 2 roll calls, one in the beginning of the meeting and then the second one about the middle of the meeting. If we don't hear you, if you're having trouble with your microphone, send a text, put it in the chat. Hey, I'm here. This way you are not counted as absence. We have had situations where board members have said, I was here. And we've had to go back and look at the videotape. And sometimes it's not always so true. But the fact remains, attendance is very, very, very important. Communication is key. Maria, did I get it all like in one quick? Of course.
We do appreciate when you do send us an email that you are going to be out or you don't attend, even if it's 2 board meetings that you don't attend. Great that you've informed us. We really appreciate it. It goes in your files. However, you are still marked absent.
That is correct. You are marked absent, but we are a very kind board. We don't want to lose members. So, it's very rare that we've had to say at a meeting, no, I'm sorry, this person's just not working out. We try to work with each and every one of you. And it's important, it's not that we're nosy, it's important to know the reasons. We've had board members who've been on sick leave for certain illnesses, for taking care of a family member, and they've attended virtually. So, we will work with you, but you got to work with us. It'd be good to have you guys here for a very long time. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to have bad times. You're not going to be happy, but guess what? I'm still here and I get upset all the time, but that's okay. But welcome everyone. And I look forward to working with all of you and depending on what committee you join.
I just want to also make notice to you guys. Even if you do send us the notice, an email, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're excused. You're not excused from a board meeting. You have informed us and we're aware that you have, you're not going to be attending the meeting, but you're not excused and you're still considered absent. Okay?
And just to, I know when we say like we don't allow excused absences, that is a charter requirement. So the charter does not allow for um, like an absence due to an illness or something like that. We take a very different approach, but as Pat mentioned, when it comes to when board members are seeking reappointment, the board president just looks at a hard number. If you've missed 5 meetings, they don't really ask for if there was an extenuating circumstance. I only know of one occasion when they asked, and I'm glad that they did because that board member did have an illness. So just want to reiterate, please attend in person. If you cannot, feel free to email the board office at least 2 days before the meeting to request virtual participation. You can participate in the meeting, you can vote, you just do not count towards quorum. The last thing I'll mention or talk a little bit about is the kind of structure of our meetings. They're pretty much, in terms of our monthly meetings, the same for every month. We start with our Pledge of Allegiance, roll call to confirm we have a quorum. We have 2 procedural motions to adopt the agenda, followed by a motion to adopt the minutes from the previous board meeting. After that, we have a public comment. The first public comment on our agenda is for members of the public who wish to speak on an item that is on the agenda. So if the Education Committee and Public Safety Committee met 2 weeks ago to talk about a specific issue, a member of the public can come and speak on that specific issue. We then proceed to our elected officials report. Usually, most of, if not all of our elected officials will send a representative, if not the elected themselves, to give a short update on any events or legislation that they're working on. We then go into our committee reports, which is where the chairs or vice chairs of our committee will talk about or summarize their meeting. If there's a specific motion that we have to handle from that committee, it'll get handled right during that report. Followed by committee reports, we have our second roll call, and usually we only call people who are not marked present in the first roll call. After roll call, we do our chair's report and the district manager's report. I usually try to keep it as brief as possible. And followed by old business, new business. Old business is like if there was an issue that was brought up or talked about last meeting or 2 months ago, and there's like a specific update or something wanted to share, they would usually do it in old business. New business is if there's a new pressing item that someone wants to share, they'll do that during new business. And then the last item on the agenda is the last public comment. And that is for any member of the public who wishes to speak on anything that they want. And that's also for 3 minutes per member of the public, followed by an adjournment. And that is kind of the rundown of our meetings. Sometimes we'll reorder them depending on a specific need. For example, this Wednesday, the chair's report will be up top, not at the bottom, just so we can do quick introductions. But that's pretty much the flow of our meeting. We try to keep it great. Does anyone have any questions? Anything we talked about or any pending questions or comments?
Hi, I put a question in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
Question is,
So if you need to leave early from, let's say, like a board meeting, I would let, obviously you can't let me know because I'm chairing the meeting. I would let Maria or Natasha know that if you need to leave early. Yeah, just let us know. Yeah.
Kari, in the chat, asked how often do committees meet?
That's an excellent question. It really depends on the chair of the committee and what they're focusing on. I'll give you an example. Transportation is probably our busiest committee. They meet at least once a month, sometimes twice if there's a really specific issue. Other committees tend to meet probably quarterly, with some meetings, some committees being a little bit more frequent. And I'm trying to think of Education, Health, and Human Services has been a little bit more frequent. Housing has been pretty frequent. Public safety, I would say, pretty frequent. It really depends on the committee chair, what they're looking to discuss.
As a committee chair, we try to arrange the meetings so there's not a lot of them in the week, but sometimes that's unavoidable. Natasha is really great at trying to figure out what to do things, and a lot of the committees are trying to not meet unless you really have pressing things. So as an example, as the public safety, one of the things we review are liquor licenses. So normally Maria sends them to me. If I feel that there is a concern based on the area that's going to be, then we ask the person to come and meet in person. Because a lot of the decisions we make are opinion only. So when we meet, it's just to give it our opinion to the liquor authority license. A change that happened in the transportation is the outdoor dining that you see. So they were meeting to discuss the outdoor dining applications. They moved it to get comments rather. And if there was comments or a need to meet, then they meet on that. So we try to streamline the committee meetings because we know that the having to come to the monthly meeting plus 3 or 4 committee meetings, as I come, Julia urged 2 committees, because if you're on 4 or 5, then you have to come to possibly 5 committee meetings plus the board meeting. So we want to make sure that you're managing your time well.
Also add to that, you are welcome to join every committee meeting if you want. Just to keep that in mind. So if for some reason you can only commit to 2, but are able to come whenever there's another committee meeting, you can watch it virtually, or you can come and be in attendance. So just keep that in mind.
Jeremy, you wanted to add something?
And you don't have to be a member of the committee to join a meeting, of course, if there's a particular issue that you're interested in. If you want to come to that meeting, you won't vote because you're not on that committee, but you could certainly be part of the discussion.
And regardless what committee you're on, all board members get all committee meeting notices.
Everyone gets those notices. The last thing I'll mention is because we are public officers under New York City Charter, we're subject to the New York City Conflict of Interests guidelines. They rarely affect members of our board, but sometimes they do. In our bylaws, we have, in our bylaws and in the member handbook, we kind of outlined like what a conflict may be and how to address the conflict or at our meeting. I'll give you an example. One of the many hats I wear in this community, I sit on the board of directors for the Fifth Avenue Committee, which is a nonprofit here in the community. In 2018, the Fifth Avenue Committee had a rezoning to rezone the library to build affordable units above. That had to be approved, or we gave an opinion on that ULURP by this board. Because I was a member, I'm a member of the board of directors, I wasn't able to vote, so I recused myself. So those don't happen often for some board members, but if you feel like there's a conflict of interest, the only requirement is you just have to disclose it, whether it is a resolution on a city agency or something like that, and just not vote at on that specific resolution. I would encourage folks, if they have questions, reach out to the Conflict of Interest Board. They've been really great. Whenever I've emailed them, they responded within 24 hours and have been super helpful. And just to talk a little bit briefly about voting, when we vote on an item, we'll either do a raised hand vote, which Jeremy doesn't like, and I try to avoid as much as possible, or a roll call. Roll callers will go name by name and ask for a member how they vote, yay or nay, or yes or no. I would, uh, members can abstain. I encourage people not to abstain. Abstaining is often for folks who may not have an opinion or may not have made an opinion yet. But I would just strongly encourage people not to abstain. If you are not able to vote because of a conflict, I would just ask that you say that before the vote and vote present.
Because an abstention counts as a no vote. Keep that in mind.
Oh, yes. And lastly, the other voting option, if there are non-controversial items that we're discussing, usually ask for unanimous consent. So for example, when we're approving our minutes and we're approving our agenda, I'll usually ask if there are any objections to adopting the agenda or the minutes unanimously. If there are no one objects, then it is approved by unanimous consent. I try to reserve those from things that are non-controversial or things that there's pretty much agreement from this board. And that's it. Any other questions? Go ahead, Pat.
One little comment, and I don't mean this to anyone in particular, but we have had meetings sometimes when they get pretty heated. We would ask that folks take a deep breath, take a walk, come back, and try not to take things personally because some people do get emotional. So, and this is why we're here to just talk it out. And sometimes it's not pretty, but it's emotion.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think one thing I really appreciate about this board in my experience is we sometimes will have very intense conversations, but what I appreciate is after the exchange or whatnot, you know, me just speaking personally, I think we still make a concerted effort to be friendly and to you can still be friends with someone and disagree with them. I believe that. Obviously, there are extremes to that I don't believe, but we try our best to create a space where people can feel comfortable speaking, but also refrain from personal attacks. And I think we've done a really good job doing that. If for whatever reason there's discussion on something, I'd ask that all questions, if there's a question on the motion or question discussion, they be directed to the chair, not to any other board members. So for example, if someone raises a question or says something that you feel like is a little sus or it just feels very iffy, I ask that if you have a question, you ask the question to direct it to the chair and not to the person who made the comment. Those are very rare instances, but just want to make sure, we're creating a space where people can feel comfortable speaking. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for joining this board. I look forward to the next couple of years with good conversation and good dialogue. And I will see you all on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Meeting adjourned.
Night. Well, Jess?